The simple future tense. Part 1. The learning objectives. By the end of this lesson, you will be able to identify the form and the use of the simple future tense, recognize the use of will in affirmative and negative statements, recognize the use of will in yes-no questions and WH questions. The simple future tense, will plus base form. Listen to the following conversation and pay attention to the use of the verb will. I won't be home at 11 o'clock tomorrow morning. I'll be at a meeting. The simple future tense, will plus base form. Affirmative statements and contractions. Use will plus base form, for example, will play, with all personal pronouns I, you, we, they, he, she, or it, or with the singular or plural form of nouns. Examples. I will be home at 8 o'clock. Contracted form, I'll be home at 8 o'clock. You will be home at 8 o'clock. You will be home at 8 o'clock. We will be home at 8 o'clock. We'll be home at 8 o'clock. They will be home at 8 o'clock. They'll be home at 8 o'clock. He will be home at 8 o'clock. He'll be home at 8 o'clock. She will be home at 8 o'clock. She'll be home at 8 o'clock. It will be ready at 8 o'clock. It'll be ready at 8 o'clock. The simple future tense, will plus base form. Negative statements and contractions. Use will, not, or won't plus base form, for example, will not play with all personal pronouns I, you, we, they, he, she, or it, or with the singular or plural form of nouns. Examples. I will not be home at 8 o'clock. I won't be home at 8 o'clock. You will not be home at 8 o'clock. You won't be home at 8 o'clock. He will not be home at 8 o'clock. We won't be home at 8 o'clock. They will not be home at 8 o'clock. They won't be home at 8 o'clock. He will not be home at 8 o'clock. He won't be home at 8 o'clock. She will not be home at 8 o'clock. She won't be home at 8 o'clock. It will not be ready at 8 o'clock. It won't be ready at 8 o'clock. Notice that the short form of will not is won't. The simple future tense, yes-no questions. Listen to the following short conversation and pay attention to the word order in yes-no questions. Will you be home tomorrow morning? No, I won't. I'll be at a meeting. The simple future tense, yes-no questions. Begin your yes-no question with will with all personal pronouns I, you, we, they, he, she, or it, or with a singular or plural form of nouns. Examples. Will you be late tonight? Yes, I will. I'll be late tonight. Will Salwa give you her email address? No, she won't. She won't give me her email address. Pay attention to the word order in yes-no question. Begin with will, followed by subject, followed by the base form of the verb. Again, begin your question with will, followed by subject, followed by the base form of the verb. The simple future tense, WH questions. Listen to the following short conversation and pay attention to the word order in WH questions. Where will you be tomorrow morning? I'll be at a meeting. the simple future tense, WH questions. Begin your WH question with a question word, such as what, where, when, who, why, how, what time. Then use the same word order as in yes-no questions. Examples. What time will dinner be ready? Dinner will be ready at 8 o'clock. Why will David stay home today? David will stay home because he hurt his knee. Pay attention to the word order in WH questions. Begin your question with a question word, followed by will, followed by the subject, followed by the base form of the verb. Again, begin your question with a question word, followed by will, followed by the subject, followed by the base form of the verb. The simple future tense. Use. Listen to the following sentence. When I grow up, I'll be a pilot. The simple future tense. Use. Use will plus base form when you decide to do something at the time of speaking. Examples. Oh, I've left the door open. I'll go and shut it. This box looks heavy. I'll help you with it. My father will probably call tonight. Notice that the decision to take these actions is taken at the time of speaking.